Welcome back to Mr. Rosenbaum's classroom. I'm Mr. R, your math teacher, probably, or not. Either way, let's learn some math. In this lesson, we will be discussing how to multiply polynomials. So let's quickly go over what you need to be familiar with before we start this lesson. You will need to know how to add and subtract polynomials, as you'll be using these a lot when you're multiplying polynomials. Also, you should know what like terms are in an equation just by looking at them. And just a quick reminder, in these problems, the asterisk of the star symbol means to multiply. So you see an asterisk are, the star symbol like on a phone, that means we should be multiplying these. All of our problems will use very similar steps. Some may be more complex or have more steps, but each will follow similar steps. We start with our question, the problem that was given to us. Then I would personally draw arrows to make sure that we are multiplying all terms by each other. After you multiply, we need to look at our problem and see if we have any like terms. If we do, then our problem is not completely solved and we need to combine like terms. So let's start off with our first question. 5 times x plus 7. We need to distribute the 5 to both the x and the 7 as we see in our next step. Next, multiply each term by each other. Make sure that each term in the parentheses is multiplied by another term in another set of parentheses. This is why I'm using arrows in these problems, to make sure that each term is multiplied by each other. So this will be much more helpful in the next couple of problems, as this is probably the most basic, but it's a good starting point. So let's move on to our next question. So our problem is x plus 4 times x plus 3. This will be one of the most common problems that you'll be solving. Here the arrows are at the most important because it allows us to keep track of all of our terms. We will be multiplying each term in a parentheses by each term in another. Okay, so we start by multiplying x times x. And remember, this gives us x squared. X times x is x squared. So now staying with our x, then we're going to do x times 3. Now we multiply the other part with the 4. So 4 times x and 3 times 4. And then we just solve using multiplication and math. So multiplying x times x gives us x squared. 3 times x gives us 3x. 4 and x is 4x. Then then 3 times 4, of course, is 12. So when we get this, the next important question is, are there any like terms? Remember, in adding and subtracting polynomials, we talked about like terms. In this problem, our like terms will be 3x and 4x, since they both are x terms. But again, not x squared, because x squared and x are two different things and they cannot be combined. Now let's look at our final answer. Are there any other like terms? No. So this tells us it's in its simplest form and it's solved. So now let's move on to the next question. So parentheses 2x plus 5, then parentheses multiplied by parentheses x plus 7. So this is extra practice. Remember, you can pause this video to understand each step, because it's very important you understand the process. Okay, so we're doing what we do with the other ones. We would simply multiply and distribute 2x times x plus 7, then multiply and distribute 5 times x plus 7. So when we distribute 2x times x plus 7, we would do both 2x times x and 2x times 7. Then, distributing 5 times x plus 7, we would do 5 times x and 5 times 7. Then we calculate our results. I'll give you a second to solve. Okay, so now we have 2x squared plus 14x plus 5x plus 35. Notice our answers. We multiplied the number. Is it our final answer? No. We need to combine like terms. And this gives us our final answer of 2x squared plus 19x plus 35. So now to our last question. So start off, parentheses, 2x plus 3 times x squared plus 2x minus 4. So in our work, you may see a problem like this. It's slightly more complex, but it still follows the same rules. It'll just take a little bit extra work, but it's important you know how to solve these problems if they come up, and in general, because it never hurts to further understand math and expand your problem-solving skills. So let's solve it together. Again, we start by multiplying each term by each other. So 2x times x squared plus 2x minus 4 and 3 times x squared plus 2x minus 4, like we did in the last problem. And then we multiply and distribute. An important note here is whenever we multiply 2x times x squared, this will give us 2x to the power of 3. So this is just to kind of give you the idea in problems where we're starting out with x and x squared, we should be getting an x to the power of 3. Now let's see the results of a multiplication. I'll give you a minute to think about the results, how we went from the previous step to this step. Feel free to pause the video at any moment, and I'll give you a moment to think about this. Okay, so what is our next step? If you were thinking we should combine like terms, then you are correct. So, next question. What are the like terms in this problem? So again, I suggest you pause the video and figure it out for yourself. Okay, so now we see these are the like terms. So these will be highlighted, and these are the things that need to be combined. So, and this will give us our final answer. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, you can post them in the comments. If you have any suggestions for future videos, leave them in the comments. See you next time as we explore math.